Why do some members of Olympus look completely different after what Gears of War 1 established? In the very first game, we meet a diverse and large cast of Olympians that aid us in our quest to defeat Ares, the true goat of war. While not directly appearing in front of us, they project their heads through color-like projections, hinting their actual appearances that Kratos is currently unaware about, leaving to the player possible interpretations that they could assume after encountering them, leaving a sense of mystery and mystique. But this immersion is broken by the second game that shows us their actual designs, that for some reason look quite different to what the first game established. First, and the least troublesome candidate, is King of Olympus himself, Zeus.
I am the King of Olympus!
Who at first glance doesn't look anything different, as both depictions show an old man. But if you really stop to think about it, the two versions just have different eyes, perhaps due to Pandora's box. Our next target is none other than the King of Atlantis, Poseidon.
You challenge me, mortal? A god of Olympus?
Who appears a lot older than what his Gears of War 2 and 3 appearances show. This could just be left to an inconsistency. But I would like to disagree. This design is actually resembling Poseidon really well, as this is actually his water form that he can take, as this water design looks a lot older than his younger version, but he's not using this form. Now you might be probably saying to me, but Poseidon's water form doesn't exist in the first game, which I would kindly disagree and show you a very strange image of Poseidon presented as a giant human-like creature with many tentacles inside one of the water sections in Pandora's temple. Even for a brief moment, we can see and understand that Poseidon actually has something that is not directly shown to us, except through the vision of the eyes of the architect of the actual temple, as the architect isn't one of the members of Olympus and is only a mere servant. It could be that for a brief moment he saw Poseidon's water form and decided to depict him like that. And the last and probably the biggest problem in this case is none other than the ruler of Underworld, Hades.
Your soul will be mine!
Who, as we know in the first game, looks completely different than how we saw him later in the games. But does he? What we saw in Gears of War 2 and 3 doesn't contradict anything that the first game said, except that souls of Hades aren't red. But it could be that Hades' face actually looks like this underneath that big helmet. Think about it. Why is Hades presented red in his projection? It is to highlight his burning and bright face that is covered by the helmet he's wearing. Also, both versions possess horns. But in Gears of War 3, once you took down his helmet, he doesn't even burn or have horns on his head. Listen, brother. If my head was bashed by a guy who could resist getting crushed by Atlas and was held by my two horns, I too would look absolutely disfigured and destroyed, like our boy Hades over here.